If it's Thursday, that means it's the Thursday Night Thunder Series. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ellis Thomas alongside in the booth tonight with Chris Smith. We're bringing you live racing action in the Gen 4 ARCA cars of the TNT Series tonight from Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Nestled in the heartland of America, Indy stands as a coliseum of speed, a shrine where the echoes of roaring engines reverberate through racing history, making it the racing capital of the world. Long having been an entrepreneur and businessman, Fisher took his vision to three colleagues, Arthur Newby, James Allison, and Frank Wheeler. Together, the four men invested $250,000 into what would soon be Indiana's pride and joy, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. While Carl G. Fisher first began dreaming of this track in 1905, its construction finished in 1909, 3 million bricks later. As the years unfolded, the Brickyard witnessed the triumphs and tribulations of racing legends. The names of A.J. Foyt, Mario Andretti, as well as Gordon and Earnhardt echo through this racetrack's corridors, each etching their indelible mark in the Speedway's rich history. The infamous yard of bricks at the start-finish line serves as a mosaic of victories and defeats, a testament to the relentless pursuit of speed and glory that every driver dreams of achieving here at Indy. Tonight, one driver will kiss the virtual bricks at the end of the race, a tradition interestingly enough started by the 1996 NASCAR winner Dale Jarrett. To do so, they're going to have to make nearly 100 near-perfect laps, as the margin for error remains minute, and one missed corner can mean the difference between victory and defeat. Chris, in case you did not know, Indianapolis Motor Speedway has served as a test track for various automotive innovations, including the development of the first ever passenger car airbag back in 1971. Drivers are going to have to be looking to innovate out on the track tonight because every inch of every corner matters here. Miss one and say goodbye to your spot. What are drivers going to have to do correctly tonight if they're going to achieve perfection that Indianapolis requires?
Well, I think that you hit on it right there. You're going to have to be perfect around this 2.5 mile rectangular shaped iconic racetrack. We have 100 laps of racing here around this track tonight. Track position is going to be so important, so drivers are going to be looking to maintain that all race long tonight. That expected fuel window is not accurate right there. We'll see if we can get some updated information here in just a second. But, Ellis, you're going to have to be perfect all night tonight. This is a track that will reward you for precision, and it will hurt you if you are just the slightest bit inaccurate.
Hey, man, we're going to try to be accurate as possible tonight on the racetrack and with some stories to set the race up for the fans. When we get back from this break, it's time for everyone's favorite Slingshot Racing Media pre-race tradition, the playing of the national anthem. Everyone, if able, rise and remove your caps. We'll be back on the other end of the national anthem. Back here from Speedway, Indiana. Technically, we're in the Slingshot Racing Media studio right now. We'll be back to Speedway, Indiana at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway momentarily, but we're going to do a little bit of a pre-race here, set the race up for the viewers at home looking to get in on the action for the Thursday Night Thunder race number 10 here at Indianapolis. Big stories to follow. The first one, our point standings, Chris. Aaron Smith and Levi Cox have been duking it out blow for blow all season long. And right now, 10 races out of the 15 in, or 9 of them scored. 6 points divide first and second. I know that we've got a 3-race playoff or a chase at the end of the season, and points will be re-racked. But, man, these guys, you can't pull them apart on the track, and I think we might be in store for something similar tonight, but there are going to be some other players we talk about. What do you make of this points battle? Do you have either driver having an edge, maybe, as we approach the final 3-race chase?
I don't know if I have a driver that has an edge. They've been really, really close all season long. Aaron Smith still hasn't joined the server tonight, so hopefully he'll make it in here for the race and keep it close. But Levi Cox is going to have the practice lap advantage on him maybe here tonight. So hopefully Aaron will get in here and we can keep this points battle going really, really tight all the way until that cutoff for the playoff start.
Yeah, and it's a great battle, not just up at the top, but look at 3rd through 5th, just 10 points separating 3 drivers. So there's multiple kind of little mini battles going on within the top 10 right now. And that top 10, that is key because those drivers will advance to the chase for the final 3 races of the season where the points will be reset, and it'll be a spread of 50 points separating those 10 drivers, 5 points in between each. So you're never out of this. If a driver hits his stride in the final couple races of the regular season, they might be having a chance for the championship. Greg Shepsis, Chris, is one of those drivers who we've seen come on hot as of late, who might insert himself into that championship conversation before too long. We'll be keeping an eye on that as well as drivers who are kind of on the bubble there in 8th, 9th, and 10th. Let's talk about some of the big stories to follow as practice winds down, or qualifying winds down, with just about 4 minutes left. Big stories tonight, Chris. You touched on it in the opener. You got to hit your marks tonight. Hitting those marks and precision is going to be key. Why is that so important?
Well, at a lot of tracks, especially on open tracks, let's say, stock car racing, a 1/10 of a second seems like an eternity. Where here at Indianapolis, a 1/10 of a second is a lot closer together than it is on some of the other tracks. You're going to see a sort of a wider margin in lap times, and that's because you have 4 distinct corners here. They look very, very similar, but you have to hit marks in all 4 corners, and you have to be extremely precise in all 4 corners. If you are just the slightest bit off with these very, very flat, almost, they're not really 90-degree turns, but they are very tight corners, you can find yourself losing some track position very, very quickly. So hitting your marks is key around this 2.5-mile racetrack.
And kind of in that same vein, on that same note, passes are going to be critical here and how you set them up. Hey, you got to pass wisely and make your choices as to when you're going to set those passes up. Where's the best place to set a pass up? Where should we be watching drivers to kind of set those passes up successfully?
I think the best place to pass here is off the corners. Corner exit. If you're able to rotate through the center of the corner, get back to the gas a little bit quicker, get your right front to the inside of that driver coming up off the corner exit. I think that's the best place to pass somebody, and drag race them down the front stretch. And when you get down to the next corner, you're on that inside line. And Ellis, I don't foresee anybody passing anybody around the outside tonight. These guys might prove me wrong, but that's very, very difficult to do. And with a track, that is aero sensitive, this track is probably the most aero sensitive racetrack, that we race at here in the TNT series this season. Dirty air is going to be a big story tonight, and it's going to be hard to combat that dirty air to make your way around the driver in front of you.
We'll be keeping an eye on that for sure. And kind of in that same vein about, driving in dirty air and handling, tires are going to be a premium tonight. We're looking at about 35 laps on a tank of fuel. For drivers to stretch a set of Goodyear tires 35 laps based on kind of the way we've been seeing these cars drive tonight in practice, that is going to be a challenge. Drivers are going to have to be on the top of their game to hit their marks, as we've been talking about, and hold on to those tires. I've seen drivers sideways in practice and qualifying, and that's going to have an impact. That's going to wear that Goodyear rubber as the race and those runs progress. And by the end of the each 35-lap run, Chris, you might have some drivers who are in really bad positions in terms of how much time they've lost simply by driving that rubber off a little bit too early. So we'll be keeping an eye on those tires. And lastly, Chris, last week, we got to mention it. Charlotte, the Nutcracker 250-mile race, they ran it 100% under green flag conditions. Not a caution on the track all evening. You think we can expect something similar tonight? Drivers probably need to be ready for that.
Yeah, Indianapolis is known for long green flag runs, and 250 laps at Charlotte Green is quite a feat. I would say it's probably harder to do at Charlotte than it is here at Indianapolis. Just because of notoriously what the tracks are known for. I'd say that, Charlotte's probably more well known for producing more cautions. Indianapolis probably more known for long green flag runs. These guys proved last week they can do it, and I suspect that they can possibly do the exact same thing again this week. So that's going to be an important story to keep our eyes on all race long, and let's have our fingers crossed that they manage to do that. I wouldn't be a bit surprised, Ellis.
I would not be surprised either. And hey, one surprise story was kind of brewing in pre-race. Aaron Smith was having some issues, hadn't been able to get on track yet, hasn't been in the session. He just got in with about 10 seconds left in qualifying, Chris. So I know Levi Cox was probably hoping that Aaron, his closest competitor, wasn't going to show up tonight. Maybe he was. Maybe he wanted to race him, and have a good race. Either way, Aaron Smith's here tonight. We're not going to have that conversation about his absence. A lot of other great drivers are here tonight. We'll go ahead and highlight some of those as we get this race gridded up. Getting ready for green flag action here at Indianapolis. Race number 10 of the TNT Thursday Night Thunder Series. And Chris, we mentioned it. Levi Cox, they've been back and forth, him and Aaron Smith, in points all season long. Levi, he's got the number one position teed up for that number one car. He's starting from the pole in the number one. Another driver that's been fast, Chris, last week he had a great run at Charlotte Motor Speedway, his first race of the season. Tonight he sticks to the track, second race of the season. Braxton DeWeese starting second in that 33. Robert Walton, great qualifying run for third position in that number 66, with Chase Leahy starting fourth on the outside of row 2 in that number 34. Great qualifying effort here, Chris, for Ricky Mandela Sr. He needs a good run tonight, and he's off to a good start with that fifth position qualifying run for the number 28. Greg Veal's been a minute since we've seen the 26 in action, but he's back tonight here at Indy, qualifies sixth in that number 26. Joshua Kerner is going to have to come from the inside of row 4 tonight. Seventh position qualifying for Joshua in that number 14. David Reichman starting 8th on the outside of row 4, Chris. David had a great 6th position run in that number 6 last week at Charlotte. He's going to look to carry on that momentum tonight, starting from 8th. Michael Benton, one of the best qualifying efforts of the season for Michael. He's starting 9th tonight in that 29. I know he's got some friends watching at home. Let's see if he can do him proud and bring home his first top 10 of the season. Aaron Smith, he's going to have to come back from 10th position, Chris, and we mentioned it. Passing is not easy here at Indy. What's he thinking as he gets geared up for this race? If you're his crew chief, what are you telling that number 70?
I'm just telling him right here just to be calm, be cool. I mean, Aaron's turned plenty of laps around this track and in these cars where I think that he will be fine tonight. But, just, pick them off slowly, one by one if you can. And, try to keep that thing in as much clean air as you can, which is easier said than done when you're coming from the back of the field.
Speaking of backfield, Nicholas Tomlinson and Chris Blassie, 11th and 12th respectively in qualifying. They've got their work cut out for them if they're going to make up those positions on the track here. Just about half a lap away from the green flag, the initial start of this 100-lap race here. Race number 10, Indianapolis for the TNT Series. Folks, if you're joining us in the chat here, can't say thank you enough. Connor, Merry Christmas. We're happy you're here this week. He's rooting for Aaron Smith. Joshua Kerner in the chat saying, uh-oh, Aaron just joined the race. Connor, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. Levi Cox jumped in the chat as well. Lots of folks jumping in the chat early. That's probably because, Chris, we're giving away a free 1/64 scale Kevin Harvick Diecast tonight. One lucky fan in the chat is going to win that Diecast. We're going to do some trivia later on about Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I've got some fun facts. We're going to play some games, and one lucky trivia winner is going to walk away with that free Diecast. More about that here after the first 5-6 laps or so, Chris. They're headed down into the final set of corners, down now into turn 4, getting ready to approach the front straightaway. You mentioned it. Everyone just pull those belts tight, take a deep breath. It's a long race, 100 laps here at Indy. It's going to take a minute. Hit your marks. Every single driver, starting with Levi Cox and Braxton DeWeese on the outside pole, going to be looking to be precise tonight. And they're going to look to hit that throttle precisely as the flagman waves the green. We're under green flag conditions here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, race number 10 of the TNT Series. Cox on the inside, Braxton DeWeese on the outside as they race down into turn 1 for the first time tonight. A couple cars loose back there. Looks like Michael Benton slid up the track just a little bit. Levi Cox still works that inside, Chris, but Braxton DeWeese not going away on the outside. He's really finding some speed up there.
Yeah, Braxton DeWeese holding real strong on that outside right there. He gets a great run off of turn 2, and he's going to clear Levi Cox halfway down the backstretch.
Cox pokes a nose out there. He thought about it for a minute, but Chris, that kind of is a little bit surprising as we watch Dewey slide up the track just a little bit. That's an example of a driver just slightly missing their mark. Almost you wouldn't notice it to the naked eye, but look at how much ground Levi Cox was able to gain. Cox wiggles just a little bit out of turn 4 as they get ready to complete the first lap down the front straightaway.
Yeah, great opening lap right there by Braxton DeWeese as he's able to clear Levi Cox on the outside. I think he just proved me wrong, unless I didn't think that we'd see anybody passing anybody on the outside. But if you are going to do it on a restart or the initial start is by far the best time to do it.
We got one car a little squirrely off the racing surface. Mike Benton back in 12th position, gets it gathered back up just fine, Chris. But you mentioned this is a great battle for the lead. Braxton DeWeese surprised us out of the gate. Hey, Chris DeWeese is in the chat with some race fans for Braxton. We appreciate Chris. Glad to see you in here. Merry Christmas to you as well. There's a pass for the lead. Chris ain't gonna like to see it, but looks like Levi Cox reclaims that position. First place. Braxton DeWeese might just be looking to learn a little bit of something here, seeing where he can pass, how he can pass, but he's going to relinquish that lead to Levi Cox as they head down the front straightaway now. Getting ready to complete lap number 2. It's about 2 car lengths separating first from second. You have to look about 10 car lengths back to Robert Walton. He's in the number 66 slotted in 3rd position. Chase Leahy in that green and white Pine golf machine back in the 4th position, Chris. Just keeping an eye on Aaron Smith. That number 7, the points leader, he's in 7th position right now after starting 10th. He's picked up 3 spots. He's looking like he's going to try to pick up this spot on Ricky Mandela Sr. down the back straightaway. He did exactly what you said, Chris. He's listening to you as his crew chief.
Yeah, he's just picking them off one by one car at a time. You can't get in too big a hurry here. This isn't the type of track where you're going to zip around them on the outside, just try to hold it as wide open as you can. This is a place right here where you just got to get one by one. And, we've seen Aaron at the start of a lot of these races kind of falling back a little bit, from his initial starting spot. But I think this also speaks to just, how at Indianapolis, running the fast line is also the line that is probably the best on your tires as well. That line that's right there. Look how he's got those left sides beneath the white line, between the white line and that curbing on the inside. I'm going to be watching that all night. Look how high the 26 is on corner entry right there compared to Aaron Smith in the 70 right there. It doesn't look like much, and it really isn't on most tracks, but here that will hurt you tremendously just by being off just a little bit.
Every inch counts, right, Chris? And Aaron Smith kind of proving that point here as we watch Greg Veal walk up the track just a little bit. And that's going to have an impact on tires, too, as you imagine. That steering wheel's cranked a little bit more to the left, trying to keep that car down. Handling not where Greg Veal with a great qualifying spot in 6th. Already gained a spot and looking to lose that, unfortunately, to Aaron Smith here in the next lap or so. Looks like Smith's got the speed. But Greg Veal, great run going so far in that number 26. Great to see him back. Chase Leahy, about 10 car lengths out in front of him. Looking for good battles going on the track right now. Some really good ones. Looks like Chris Blassie, back in 9th and 10th. past Joshua Kerner here. Blassie started shotgun on the field back in 12th position. He's back up to the 9th position now with that pass on Joshua Kerner. Chris Blassie's someone who, we haven't seen, I feel like, the speed we were expecting to see out of Chris this season. He's just kind of unfortunately got caught up in some stuff over the course of the season, but tonight may be an opportunity for him to showcase that speed around these big tracks that we know him for. Indianapolis, a big track, we know it's a little bit different than Daytona or Talladega, but he's past 3 cars so far right now. So we'll be looking at that number 15 for someone who might continue to move up through the field. Sets his sights on David Reichman in that number 6 car, Chris.
Yeah, and Chris Blassie had a little bit of a tough week last week in that 15. And he's really, really out of the groove right there. We saw that Junior Motorsports Chevy right there get really high, and that's what I was mentioning before about just making sure you stay really precise. But yeah, he's looking to recover from that tough run last week at Charlotte. He did not make all 250 laps, so he's looking to rebound this week. David Reichman, just in front of him, saw him actually get down in the grass, which is also something that happens here sometimes. You want to try to get your left front as close to that grass as you can, and sometimes you'll see some drivers kick it up, as we saw that Warframe 1999 Chevy kick it up.
I noticed that. Kind of an interesting paint scheme for David Reichman. Warframe, is that a video game, right?
I think it is.
Warframe?
I don't know nothing about it, but I think that it is, yeah.
Hey, if you're in the chat and you know what Warframe 1999 is, let us know. Hey, say hi in the chat. We're going to be doing some trivia here in the next couple of laps, but a couple of interesting battles. Another one that is brewing on the racetrack, Chris. Chase Leahy has caught Robert Walton. He's just about 2.5, 3 car lengths back. So we watch Aaron Smith not too far behind them, getting ready to make a pass on Greg Veal for the 5th position. Curious if we can go on board with maybe Chase here. We watch him set this pass up on the number 66 of Robert Walton. Just ride along for a minute, see what he does.
Yeah, right here, Ellis. I was just going to go ahead and mention right there. You saw the difference in corner entry speed right there. The 66 of Walton drove it in a lot deeper than Chase Leahy did, and he paid the price in turn 3. Went way up the track right there. Chase Leahy was a little bit more easy into the corner, and he's able to close right up on the back bumper of that 66.
And you can see kind of the time gained halfway through the corner and through the exit, and it's going to set him up potentially here for a pass in one of these short shoots. Maybe not. He might try to do it on the back straightaway if he can continue that momentum. We'll see how it kind of matriculates here and whether or not he can gain the advantage. Definitely gets a better run. I just don't know if he's going to have enough speed to get the 66 this time down the backstretch. How frustrating is it in that cockpit to kind of be doing battle with a driver and gain some and then lose some and then gain some and lose some, as we see kind of Chase Leahy doing here over the past couple of laps with Robert Walton, as Walton's doing a great job of holding off that number 34.
It can be extremely frustrating here because, Ellis, I can't even begin to describe how much different Chase Leahy's car is driving now that he's all over the back bumper of Robert Walton. I mean, it is a lot tighter. It's pushing the nose in the center of the corner, and you can be a lot faster than the guy in front of you, but you just can't get around him because of just how aero tight that you get behind that other car. And we're seeing right here, look at Walton. Looks like so that happened a corner back. He got really loose off of turn 1, and that really messed up his entry to turn 2, and he was way up the track, and Chase Leahy drove right up on his rear bumper and wasn't able to get around him. But, a few more corners like that is really killing the tires on that 66 as here comes Leahy to the inside.
Yeah, Leahy's going to take advantage of the trouble that Robert Walton and that 66 having on the inside there. Leahy in that Pine Golf, number 34, makes the pass for 3rd position. Great run going for Chase in that number 34. He runs the TNT League, doing a great job with it right now. He's doing great on the track. Glad to see he's finally got a Pine Golf paint scheme, and he's not going to be happy to see Aaron Smith making that pass on Robert Walton right behind him, because he hears the Jaws theme song playing in the background. Aaron Smith now up from the 10th starting position, now to 4th position, drawing a bead on Chase Leahy. Hasn't taken very long. We're just 10 laps into this 100-lap.
Oh, the 66 in the wall, Ellis.
Walton clips the wall in the exit of turn 2, makes his way down the track with kind of an aggressive jerk to the left, and he's going to get passed by Greg Veal here on the outside. Not sure what happened, Chris. I think that's been a few laps coming with the way that 66 has been pushing up through the corners.
Yeah, and I mentioned it before when we were riding on board with Chase Leahy, and you were seeing how that car was just sliding a little bit more than Leahy was, and I just feel like he was, by doing that, he was hurting his tires, and but, you know, not all is lost. He can definitely, you know, regroup right here. It doesn't look like there's any major damage to that car, so regroup, cool those tires down just a little bit, and get back after it.
Speaking of regrouping, Chris, Braxton Deweese, second place, is close to within about 4 or 5 car lengths of Levi Cox here in the past couple of laps. Had a tough corner through 1 and 2, it looked like, but he gets back on that throttle on the exit of turn 2, down that sweeping backstretch, trying to draw a bead on Levi Cox. We got some Braxton Deweese fans in the chat, Chris and Doug, watching. We appreciate them tuning in, as well as everyone else in the chat. While we wait on what might eventually become a pass for the lead here in the next couple of laps, or at least Deweese is going to try to make it that way. Let's do some trivia. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so if you are in the chat right now and missed it earlier, we're giving away a free 1/64 scale Kevin Harvick diecast. We're going to do it through trivia tonight. The way the rules work, I'll read the question. You type in your answers. The first 2 correct answers will get points for that question. We'll do at least 5 questions over the course of the race, and the fan with the most trivia points at the end of the night is going to be sent that Kevin Harvick diecast car for free. Feel free to play along and type in your best answer. Here's the first question. The first Indianapolis 500 winner did not get a trophy. What did they get instead of a trophy? The first Indy 500 winner back in 1911 did not receive the Borg-Warner Trophy, as it's called. What did they get? Give us the correct answer. First 2 correct answers on the chat board will get a point for the trivia tonight. Go ahead, give us your best guess as we continue to watch the racing action.
Oh,
Levi Cox has scored as your leader. Yeah, car in the wall. Was that David Reichman in the number 6?
It was. He tagged the wall right there, and there goes Joshua Kerner to the inside of him. We're seeing a lot of cars sliding on corner exit, and we're going to see more and more, I think, tag that outside retaining wall.
Yeah, man, and here's where the concern for me comes in. We're about just over a third of the way through a fuel run here. We said 35 laps or so is how far a tank will get you. You think drivers are going to be able to make it 35 laps?
Yeah, I think that the guys that are taking care of their tires definitely will. I don't think that we'll have an issue there, but this place is a little bit deceptive, and you can really burn your tires up faster than you think you are burning them up. Like, you might feel like you're taking it easy here, but you're really not. It's a very, very deceptive track to drivers, so I wouldn't be a bit surprised maybe to see some decide to come to pit road early, because maybe they get that. Every driver will get a little bit of a warning. Their spotter will tell them, or their crew chief will tell them that, like, hey, we're really wearing the tires out here, and that usually signifies you're around 20, 25% on that right front tire left usually.
And one of the drivers undoubtedly doing a good job of saving tires right now, Chris, Aaron Smith. Working his way down the back stretch. This is a battle for the 3rd position. Smith is drawing a bead on Chase Leahy, trying to sneak a bit of a draft there off the back bumper of Leahy, and that Pine golf car gets a little bit loose. Leahy is going to open the door for Aaron Smith. Scary moment for Leahy there. Chris, we've been talking about the wiggle, the Indy wiggle, all evening long for the first 15 laps or so. Chase Leahy just about fell victim to that wiggle there. Maybe got a little bit too much of that apron.
Yeah, possibly so. We're riding on board with him, and you can see Aaron Smith looking out the back bumper, and Aaron had that left front down right there. There's a little bit of a curving down there, a little bit of a rumble strip, if you will, and he had that left front down there, just barely touching it, and that's really what you want to do. And it looks like Aaron a little bit higher that time through turn 2. Oh, he tagged the wall right there off of turn 2. He's in it again.
Smith and Leahy get the wall off of turn 2. They followed each other into the wall. Now Leahy is going to try to make another pass on Aaron Smith, this time the shoes on the other foot. Leahy to the inside. He's going to complete the pass, but Smith will look for the crossover here on the exit of the corner. Very close call. You couldn't slit a sheet of paper in between the number 70 and the 34. Smith now surges to third position. He slides up the track a little bit. Looks like that is going to do it for Chase Leahy, but he quickly draws a beat on the back of the 77. Draft playing a little bit of a role here. Will the 70 try to throw a block on Chase Leahy? Leahy smartly backs off the throttle and gives the position to Aaron Smith in the corner, Chris. A lot of drivers would have forced the issue and probably tried to drive it in a little bit harder than others there, but Chase Leahy showing some veteran experience there in that number 34 Pine Golf Chevy. Great run going for him, even though he just lost that position. Still a top 5 run going for Chase Leahy, Chris. Handling going away on these cars very quickly.
Definitely is, and you know, we were riding on board with Chase Leahy when Aaron Smith tagged that wall, and you might have heard me mention it. Looked like he kind of missed that corner. He was up a little bit too high right there on corner entry, and you can see what happens if you just miss your mark. I mean, he wasn't up high by a lot.
Yeah.
He was just up a little bit higher than what he had been previously, and so that just shows you how important it is to hit your marks every time.
Battle for the lead. First and second, separated by less than a car length, Chris. Levi Cox and Braxton Deweese, lap 17. It was about lap 2 that Braxton Deweese got passed by Levi Cox after jumping out to a lead from the second position. Now Braxton Deweese looks to get that lead back. Just 17 laps in the book, and Deweese has closed it to less than a car length as we ride on board down that long backstretch, almost a mile long. Deweese a little bit lower on entry than Levi Cox. Both cars look like they are evenly matched right now, Chris. Great battle going on here. First and second, Aaron Smith. You got to look all the way back to the shot to see that bright yellow number 70 machine of Aaron Smith, but great battle going up at front right now. Braxton Deweese's first race in the TNT Series. His debut was last week at Charlotte. Had a strong outing, did not get the result he wanted, but had speed all night long. Right now, trying to showcase that once again on the back bumper of Levi Cox, the series regular and veteran, and current second place in points. Cox trying to hold off Braxton Deweese. I don't know how long he's going to be able to do it, though.
Yeah, I don't know either. Oh, I think Braxton hit the wall right there. I think he was so close to the rear bumper of that one that he maybe lost sight of the wall right there coming off of turn 2. Yeah, that wall was like a magnet, Ellis, tonight. It's really sucking everybody in.
It really is. And hey, while that was going on, Chase Leahy made another pass on Aaron Smith for the third position. You don't see people passing Aaron Smith that often, but Chase Leahy, great speed tonight in that number 34 Pine Mountain car. Great run going on. Pine Golf, sorry.
Yeah, he's looking, it's like Aaron Smith looking to the inside. I think he's just trying to get out of Chase Leahy's mirror right there. It's another, sort of a road course tactic that sometimes you see here in Indianapolis where you'll sort of look to the inside, but you're not really planning to make the pass. You're just trying to get out of that driver's mirror to make him maybe miss his marks and overdrive that next corner.
Great little battle going on here between Aaron Smith and Chase Leahy. Smith gets the advantage on the exit of turn 2. He's going to channel that into some speed down the back stretch. It is a dogfight drag race down into turn 3. Aaron Smith's going to win that one. Chase Leahy's going to duck in behind and wait for another lap maybe to regroup and try to get back by the number 70. That is a battle going on for the third position, Chris. But right in front of them, the battle for the lead continues to stay hot with Braxton Deweese within a car length of the back bumper of Levi Cox. He looks to the inside down into turn 1. He's going to draw back up behind the back bumper of the number 1. You mentioned that tactic just a minute ago. Braxton Deweese employing it perfectly there. Wiggles a little bit off the corner, but dead even coming off the corner in terms of speed. Not one driver gained an advantage over another. Who's going to get out of turn 2 better? Chris, looked like Cox might have gotten out just a little bit better. Gains a slight advantage over Braxton Deweese, but they are still neck and neck. Down the back straightaway they go. Braxton Deweese a little bit later of an entry. Can he channel that into some speed off the corner here with a bit of a wiggle from Levi Cox?
Yeah, it seems like it's definitely his goal right here. Man, these guys are putting on a great show right here. For Braxton, this is a difficult pass to make because the driver that he's racing against just is not really making a huge mistake right here. he's going to have his work cut out for him if he's going to make this pass.
Work cut out for him indeed. Chris, great battles going all over the track. Not sure where to look right here. Robert Walton just got passed by Greg Veal, who's got a great run, continuing to go in the 5th position in that number 26 Veal. We haven't seen him as a regular this season, but he is showcasing some speed tonight in that number 26. What's your favorite driver, Chris, ever to drive a Caterpillar car?
Oh, man. Well, you know, the first ones that come to mind are definitely the Burton brothers. Both of them drove Caterpillar cars. I guess I have to go with... I like both the Burtons. So we got a battle for the lead right here, Ellis.
Braxton DeWeese to the inside. Levi Cox jumps up the track just a little bit. Both drivers wiggle as they come off of turn 4 down that long front straightaway. Drag race to the line. Looks like DeWeese will lead this lap. Lap number 21 goes to Braxton DeWeese. Slight contact there potentially between Cox and Braxton DeWeese. Cox might have gotten a little bit of DeWeese's back bumper as they enter down into turn 1. It's about 3 car lengths now separating the lead. DeWeese in that blue and white number 33 with Levi Cox in that black white number 1. Chris, this has got the makings of a great race. We haven't even seen Aaron Smith enter into the picture back in 3rd. We haven't seen him make up a lot of ground. I'm looking at lap times, Chris, and right now Braxton DeWeese is the fastest car on the track. He might be the guy to beat tonight after starting in 2nd.
He very well could be, and I think I saw Chris DeWeese say in the chat that this is a bit of a home race for Braxton. So
they're from Ohio, not too far down the road.
Yeah, so that's definitely a little bit more added motivation to want to bring home the checkered flag, and so Braxton seems like he's got a really good handle on things tonight, and I was curious to see if maybe he would start walking away from Levi, because we saw him right behind him for a long time, and sometimes, you can really, just get held up by that guy in front of you here with the arrow push. But I just think I think these two guys are really close on speed tonight. It seems like they're sort of matching each other. They were within 1/100th of a second from each other in qualifying, and then the next guy was like 0.4 of a second back. So. That's a pretty big gap that you have on the rest of the field. So I think these guys are going to put on a pretty good show all race.
Yeah, I think we're in store for some great racing. Hey, one more chance. Couple entries into the chat trivia contest. If you're watching right now, go ahead and type your answer to that question in the chat. What did the first Indy 500 winner get? I'll give you a hint. It was not a trophy. It was a notable item. This still might be connected to the Indianapolis 500. What did that first Indy 500 winner get? Got a couple guesses in the chat right now. If you're watching and you haven't guessed, open up that chat window on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. You've all got the option. Free Kevin Harvick Diecast to the winner of trivia tonight. And if you haven't hit that subscribe or like button, please go ahead and do so. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it helps us tremendously here at Slingshot Racing Media. Get these drivers in front of more eyes and reach more viewers. First car down pit road, Chris, that is Chris Blassie. Not sure if he had a problem or this is going to maybe kick off some of the first pit stops we see tonight. Looks like he might try splitting this race into quarters, Chris.
Yeah, and that might be a sign of, I see a little bit of damage on the right front. I don't know if he feels like his right front's just a little bit too cooked maybe to continue on until about the lap 33 mark. I think that we'll see these guys right here, our top 5 drivers. I think that we'll see them maybe try to hang on until that lap 33 mark. That will guarantee them be able to make the race, make it to the end of the race on one more stop after this initial one.
Absolutely. So pit strategy maybe starting to come into focus and consideration just a little bit for these drivers. And before all that happens, we're going to step away for a short ad break to pay the bills and hear from our sponsors, both for the TNT Series as well as Slingshot Racing Media. We'll be back on the other end of this break. If anything happens in it, we'll break back into the race, though. So we'll be back on the other end of the commercial break. Stick around.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wondered why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
All right, back here in Speedway, Indiana, at the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 27 laps in the book, over a quarter of the way through race number 10 on the TNT series. Watching a battle for the lead between Braxton DeWeese and Levi Cox that's been back and forth for the past several laps, really much of the opening swing of the race here. And Chris, further back about 4 seconds, you can just start to see a yellow car in the distance. That is your points leader, Aaron Smith, who we've kind of seen having some trouble for the first 25 laps of this race. At least the last 6-7 laps, we've seen him maybe scraping the wall a little bit. What's happening back there with that 70?
Yeah, it seems like he's having a really hard time on corner exits, specifically off of turn 2. I think that's his biggest trouble spot. I think that maybe he is just, he's getting down into the corner and the car's just not rotating through the center. But we also got to keep in mind, Ellis, he's been in a lot of traffic compared to a lot of these other guys. He has been around a lot of other vehicles. And the more traffic you're around here at Indianapolis, the more you are wearing out that right front tire. So it's like maybe he's just charging the corner a little bit harder than he needs to and not getting up off the corner because of that.
Hey, fast for the lead. We'll get back to that in a minute. Levi Cox almost scrapes into the left side of Braxton DeWeese. This is a battle up front, going through turns 1 and 2. Now Braxton DeWeese continues to hold on to that lead, but Levi Cox almost had a little bit of contact there. Both cars were side by side, headed down into turn 1. And they are not letting up here, Chris. 29 of 100 laps getting ready to be in the books. DeWeese and Cox still swinging at each other here. All's fair in racing here. Rubbing is racing, as our friend Harry Hyde says. But right now, man, they're putting on quite a show. This is not what I expected here at the end of a tire run. These guys are neck and neck on speed. Their lap times are pretty much identical to each other. You couldn't really separate them on the timetables, and you can't separate them on the track right now. Great battle going on for the lead, Chris. I did want to give you the opportunity also to talk about yellow race cars. We were talking about Caterpillar before we had that battle for the lead kind of heat up there a little while ago.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't get a chance to finish my thought right there. Greg Veal, I think Greg maybe had a little bit of trouble. I think he's currently off the track, Ellis. Looks like he's in the pits. But, yeah, I'm going to circle back to Caterpillar, talk about, that yellow car. If the most memorable Caterpillar driver has to be Ward Burton. And it has to be if you are a listener of the John Boy and Billy show, you're probably familiar with a certain interview that Ward Burton conducted on the John Boy Billy Big Show, where he was unable to say the words cat skid steer loader in an ad read that they were trying to do. So I definitely think that he's probably the most iconic Caterpillar driver. Most iconic yellow car, though, that's a hard one to think of. We always, our mind goes to Aaron Smith here on Slingshot Racing Media. I've always really liked, Ellis, the #1 Pennzoil car. I've always thought that's just a sharp-looking ride.
The Steve Park #1. Yeah, I would agree. I was a big fan. Not a big fan of the team or the car itself, but the paint scheme it's a classic.
Yeah, it looks good, and it seems like especially in I think it was like 2003 when they switched the stripes to the E stripe.
Oh, Levi Cox almost has issues with David Reichman in the 6th as the leaders work their way through lap traffic. That was a near miss and almost a big championship implication moment for Levi Cox. I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but as that 6 kind of rode up the track a little bit, that could have been catastrophic.
It really could have been right there. Yeah, that's a driver right there that's just having a hard time maintaining his line right there. And, man, that will cause a driver to really, really, really draw up in the seat, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we got to get back to the trivia question, though. We asked, what did the first winner of the Indy 500 get? Technically, there are two parts to that answer. We gave points for either one of those. Ray Haroon, who won the first Indy 500 in 1911, did not receive the Borg Warner Trophy because it didn't exist yet. He got a milk jug instead of a trophy and a cash prize of $14,000, which is the equivalent to about $400,000 today.
Ellis, Braxton DeWeese tagged the wall, entry of turn 4 right there. That's going to cost...
Fox almost into his quarter panel as well.
And these drivers are really struggling right now, Ellis. They are just sliding around.
And they are trying to make it till round lap 34. We talked about trying to split this race into thirds or segments of 3, and that would create 2 green flag pit stops if we did go the distance under green. And you can see it. The best drivers on the track really struggling right now. Everyone is having trouble on these tires. And hey, it's no tire gate. There goes Levi Cox into the wall off of 2. Now that's going to allow Braxton DeWeese to sneak away by about 9-10 additional car lengths. And Levi Cox really slow down the backstretch right now as they approach another car. Looks like they're approaching the number 6 of David Reichman once more, who's really struggling, Chris. I think it's time for tires in the next lap or two if you're Braxton DeWeese or Levi Cox. We've already seen Chris Blassie, David Reichman take tires. We're waiting for the rest of the field to make that left-hand turn down pit road. It's not going to happen this time, though. They're going to go at least one more lap on these tires.
Yeah, one more time around right here, and that's completes lap 33, working lap 34 here. I suspect that we'll see these drivers come to pit road this time right here. If they want to be able to split this race into thirds. A lot of drivers really struggling out here, Ellis. And, I think that what we saw out of Levi Cox, the reason why he lost so much ground right there is because he was out of the throttle trying not to hit the wall, and he still hit the wall because of how much they're sliding around out there.
And I'm just listening to these drivers' throttle responses and the sounds that are coming out of those race cars, Chris, and you can tell it sounds different now than it did about 20 laps ago, even 10 laps ago. The tire fall off has hit dramatically here, and we're hearing from the pit box of Braxton DeWeese that we're looking at the next lap or so. Chris DeWeese says very soon, and I would imagine that Levi Cox is not going to be far behind. He's fallen back to about 15 car lengths back from Braxton DeWeese. That's been the closest battle all night long, really, up at the front. Aaron Smith's third, Chase Leahy, fourth position. Joshua Kerner, great run going for the number 14, Chris, of Joshua Kerner. I know he's probably listening in on the broadcast right now. Shout out to that number 14, who's had maybe the strongest run of his season going right now in that Bass Pro Shops number 14, with Ricky Mandela, another stellar run going for the number 28 of Mandela in the 6th position right now. Lots of opportunities for drivers we're not used to seeing up front here early, Chris. They're having great runs at Indy. What do you think kind of accounts for some of these guys we haven't seen run all that strong? Levi Cox, we'll be right back to that thought. The number 1 second place car comes down pit road. This is going to force DeWeese's hand as Levi Cox makes that slow entry and slow crawl down pit road, coming to the attention of his pit crew. We're going to see how this pans out because Braxton DeWeese can't really waste any time, Chris, on getting to pit road.
No, he can't right here because this first lap out of the pits right here from the one of Levi Cox is going to be a blistering lap, and he will be able to gain the ground that he has to be able to gain. As looks like Ricky Mandela is also coming to pit road behind him as well. So this puts the pressure. Oh, and that was a little bit of a mistake right there from Levi Cox. Slid a little bit too far in the box, had to back up slightly. See if that hurts his overall time, as I suspect that we'll see Braxton DeWeese coming to pit road this time by.
Hey, Chris, I did want to mention one thing. Look at Aaron Smith's heart rate in the top right of the screen as we watch Braxton DeWeese make that left turn down pit road. That thing had started to rise up in the past 2-3 laps, upwards of 115. It's the highest we've seen them all night. That tells you how these cars, ladies and gentlemen, are handling right now. And it's not good. They're going to be happy to get some fresh Goodyear rubbers on these ARCA cars.
Definitely, yeah. Your heart rate, you don't even realize how much your heart rate is climbing, but it will, especially at the end of the tires live. Aaron Smith, one of the best in the business. We see how hard he's working out there. Braxton DeWeese is going to slide that number 33 into the pit stall right here. Service being done right here.
Watching Levi Cox as these cars are halted on pit road for their pit stops. Levi Cox makes his way down the front stretch. These cars still just now rolling off pit road. They've got to take that access road off to the left side of the track. Here comes Levi Cox making his way down into turn 1. Can he get by Aaron Smith, or is Aaron Smith going to make the pass? They've got to make another corner around. Looks like Cox is going to clear Aaron Smith. Can he get back up to Braxton DeWeese, who is still getting up to speed off the corner? DeWeese in the blue car, Cox in the white car. Cox carries the momentum off the corner. Will he have enough space on the track to challenge Braxton DeWeese? He's going to dive to the inside. Daring move by the number 1 of Levi Cox. This is a battle essentially for the lead. Cox has to lift off that throttle just a little bit as DeWeese still working on getting up to speed. How patient will Cox be here on lap 37 of 100? This is a battle for what will become the lead when we see the current leader, Joshua Kerner, come down pit road as he just did now. This is now first and second. Aaron Smith, Chris, also gained a little bit of time on these two over the course of that pit series.
Yeah, I'd say that this worked out really well for Aaron Smith and not so well for Levi Cox. Coming to pit road a lap early, I think that he probably suspected that he would definitely be able to sort of grab the lead back from Braxton DeWeese. I think that maybe just a little bit of time lost in the pit stall as he slid a little bit too far in the box might have cost him a little bit right here, and that's going to be one lap fresher tires on the 33 of DeWeese. And still maintaining the lead. So, definitely a good round of pit stops for DeWeese and Smith. Levi Cox just sort of serving hold with where he was before. But, one lap, I don't suspect that's going to be a huge detriment to Cox. I think that he'll definitely be able to maintain his position here. Maybe he's learned a few things from that first run to maybe try to save those tires a little bit more than what he did in the previous stint.
Yeah, I think you are right. Drivers still kind of learning how these cars are going to progress over the course of a long green flag sequence. Braxton DeWeese scored as your leader after that pit sequence. Levi Cox second as they work their way by a lap car there on the inside of Michael Benton, having a 9th place run going. Aaron Smith's going to have to work his way by the inside of Benton. Smith runs in 3rd. Chase Leahy is in 4th position. Joshua Kerner, season best run going for the number 14 right now, Chris. Let's focus in on that number 14.
Yeah, he said that he hated this place.
Right? That was kind of what I was thinking. He talked a lot of smack about Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but for someone who did not like this track, he's having a good run going right now in that number 14 car.
Definitely, yeah. He was talking about how much he was not looking forward to tonight, but here he is right here running in the 5th spot. And what's even better, Ellis, is that he waited longer than anybody else to make that pit stop. He's currently on the freshest tires on track right here. So that shows that he clearly has some long run pace in that Dodge. That's an Intrepid, isn't it? Yeah, or I think I think they've got it labeled as a Dodge RT because I think the Intrepid had went away by that point, but still the Intrepid body.
Hey, one thing I will mention that's kind of interesting here. I'm just looking at Joshua Kerner's kind of season stats and some of his highlights. A 7th place at Richmond, a 6th position at Dover. Chris, those are 2 tracks, short tracks. Is there any element of a short track component to Indianapolis? Are there any carryovers? I know it's a much longer track, but the way you got to get through the corners.
I mean, maybe like the way that you attack the corner, maybe as far as, you have to be very disciplined, finessing the throttle. It's not like, like Charlotte last week where, we were lifting off the gas and kind of getting right back into it. I'd say there maybe is a little bit to it on corner entry, but that's probably the extent of it. And, maybe that technique, though, is working for him here at Indianapolis with these flat, tight corners.
Chris, I'm hearing we might have been having some issues with the stream. Some of the chatters right now are saying that. I'm not sure how it's looking on your end. Chat, Chris, let us know kind of what maybe the issue is on your end. Is it freezing up just a little bit, maybe buffering, or having some sound issues? I'm seeing a little bit of issue on mine. We'll try to work through that and fight through that here on lap 42. These drivers trying to fight through 100 laps here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We're closing in on the halfway mark right now. Braxton DeWeese scored as your leader. Levi Cox is in second. Aaron Smith is your third place runner. Yeah, we're having some buffering issues, it looks like. We'll continue to take a look at that and see if we can't get those resolved. But good runs right now going for a lot of drivers. Looking through the field, David Reichman, he had some issues earlier. He's lapped down. Chris Blassie is just hit pit road, Chris. He pit 17 laps ago, so I'm not sure if maybe Chris had some issues there. I think he did. I think he might have gotten the wall. Yeah, he did get the wall heavy, Chris, on lap number 40. Chris Blassie, that's what's brought him down pit road this time. Had a good run going in sixth position, but heavy contact on lap 40 into the wall is going to definitely set him back just a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it will. And sorry about the issues right here. Yeah, I'm afraid that this is just an issue with my ISP, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will resolve itself shortly right here. And yeah, unfortunately, it's just something that's a little bit out of our control right now.
And hey, with that being said, it might be a good opportunity to just step away for a minute. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, it looked like Chris Blassie was going to spin out right there, but yeah, I agree, Ellis. Maybe a good chance to step away.
Going to step away for a quick break. We'll be back on the other end of this break to bring you more live racing action here from Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the TNT Series. Be back in a minute.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wonder why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
All right, back here from Speedway, Indiana, at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 46 laps in the book, and we were having some streaming difficulties there with some internet issues out of our control, but it looks like, knock on wood, thank you for crossing your fingers at home, and hopefully it's getting itself resolved right now. Braxton DeWeese is scored as your leader. Second race here at the TNT Series for Braxton. He's in your lead position right now. Levi Cox is second, Chris, but Levi's got some company here on lap 47. That number 70 car is sneaking into the three-way battle for the lead.
Yeah, he definitely is. He is closing up on the back bumper of these front two right here, and that series of pit stops was really good for Aaron. He was able to gain a lot of ground right here, and I think that Aaron maybe went to school a little bit in that first stint. Maybe was hurting his tires a little bit too much, and I think he's a little bit more disciplined this time.
Definitely seems to have learned something off of that first run. He is scored in third position right now. It's teeing up to be a great battle between Levi Cox and Aaron Smith, not only in the championship points, but right now on the track. These drivers really haven't been able to separate themselves, it feels like, all season long. And right now we're getting ready to see another epic fight between these guys, but they've got Braxton DeWeese out in front of them by about 3 car lengths, separating DeWeese from second place Levi Cox. And as soon as we mentioned that, Cox seems to have made some time up on Braxton DeWeese, now just about 2 car lengths back from the lead as they come down the front straightaway here to take lap number 48 and put that in the books. Man, this is I'm surprised that we've seen these drivers so close, not only at the beginning of tire runs, but at the end of the tire cycle as well, right before the pit stops. No one seems to have a real big competitive edge amongst these top 3 right now. Chase Leahy about 11.5 seconds back in the 4th position. Joshua Kerner about 16 seconds back from these guys. But boy, oh boy, Braxton DeWeese, Levi Cox, and Aaron Smith are having a great go of it right now on the track.
Yeah,
battle for the lead.
Yeah, Ellis, Aaron Smith is really getting to the center of the corner a lot better than Levi Cox is right now. Levi put a big old block on Aaron Smith down the front stretch, and Aaron's going to look to the outside. I don't think he'll be able to make this pass at this stage of the run, but maybe he's going to try to cross back underneath him. Nothing doing right there, but Aaron's car looks like it's really cutting through the center of the corner a little bit better right now than Levi Cox's Chevy is.
All 3 cars on rails right now. Needless to say, the fastest cars on the track. Let's take a trip back to 8th position, Chris, and look at that bright red number 29 of Michael Benton. Having a good run. Not too many scuffs on that number 29 right now. Michael having a great run out there. He's a driver that he's not necessarily the fastest guy on track, but he just makes laps, and experience means a lot in these cars as we watch him wiggle off the corner just a little bit there. But yeah, experience is everything, and the more laps you log, the faster you are going to get. So, shout out to the number 29 of Michael Benton right now. Just a good run going. I know he's got some fans at home probably watching as well, but it's a good-looking paint scheme. There's something nice about a simple cherry red paint scheme.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the same paint scheme you are, Ellis, but we've got the, I think I'm showing it's like a Halloween paint scheme maybe, and I'm not sure if maybe My Trading Paints is not up to date on that, but maybe a Charlie Brown theme paint scheme on my end right here that we're seeing in the broadcast.
Okay.
So, but yeah, he's up a little bit high right there, but we had a battle for the second spot going on right there, Ellis. Aaron Smith is going to make that pass and move into the second spot over Levi Cox.
Aaron Smith to the 2nd position, now setting sail, chasing after Braxton DeWeese in that number 33 Allen's Art Images special Christmas paint scheme. That's a good-looking paint scheme in that number 33. Snowflakes, has it snowed in the parts that you live, Chris?
Absolutely not. When it snows here in Alabama, it's a big occurrence. It's a big day. We shut everything down. Yeah, we shut everything down when it snows here, and we're good for maybe about 1 snow a year if we're lucky. Or unlucky, I should say, because I'm not a big fan of snow.
Hey, Chris, DeWeese up in y'all's neck of the woods, have y'all had any snow this season? Yeah, let us know in the chat. Have you had any snow this season? Do you even like snow? And speaking of the chat, as we continue to watch some of the battles around the track right now, good one going on for second place. Let's do trivia question number 2. Trivia question number 2. What, from 1965 to 2004, what was banned at the Indianapolis 500? What was banned at the Indianapolis 500 from 1965 to 2004. What was banned at the Indianapolis 500 from 1965 to 2004? Chris, you got any guesses on that one?
Definitely got my curiosity going right here. I've got a couple things in mind, but not too sure. I'm definitely really curious about this. I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one. We'll have to give everybody a little bit of time.
I did not know before doing some research. But we'll give some time. We threw the question up in the chat. Chris DeWeese is your current trivia points leader with 1 point for the last question. Question is, what was banned at the Indy 500 from 1964 to 2004? Almost 40, or 1964 from 2004, 40 years or so. Banned at the Indianapolis 500. We'll give you the answer here in just a little bit. Some time to get your guesses in as we watch Braxton DeWeese slowly inch away by about 0.6 of a second now from Aaron Smith in second place, with Levi Cox not too far behind him. Got to go back about 13 seconds to find Chase Leahy in the number 34 Pine Golf car. Chris, are you much of a golfer?
Are you talking about putt-putt? Or no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not much of a golfer at all.
To each their own. Did you know that Indianapolis Motor Speedway has a golf course?
I did know that. That's something that I did know, and man, it looks like an awesome golf course. If I was into golf, I would definitely want to golf here at this golf course.
Do you know what the golf course is called?
Isn't it Brickyard Crossing?
You are correct. Yeah, it is the Brickyard Crossing.
And you can kind of see it right here in the infield. We're looking at it from the blimp view right here. See those trees right there with the lake. It comes into the track and also on the outside back behind the backstretch as well.
Yeah. 4 of the holes are actually located inside the racetrack, the rest on the outside of the racetrack. But pretty cool layout there. Lots of stuff going on in that infield for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Chris, you ever had any interest in going to the Snake Pit? Was it pretty much like a concert venue inside the Speedway for the Indy 500? It sounds like some crazy things go on inside there.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it'd be fun to experience once, but I gotta be completely honest, Ellis. If I'm gonna go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I ain't going to watch a concert. I'm going to watch the Indy 500. You know what I mean?
I know. I would not be caught dead inside the Snake Pit either. That's just not my scene, not my vibe, as the kids say. But, hey, to each their own. And I'm sure some folks love it. It draws a big crowd every year. Kind of a music festival inside that Indy 500 weekend inside the track. But yeah, some cool stuff going on here inside and outside the track at the Indy 500. Question was, for the trivia question, what was banned from 1965 to 2004 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? Chris DeWeese, good guess here, says no women drivers participation. That's not a bad guess historically speaking with it, but this isn't Augusta National Golf Course either, Chris. So I'll go ahead and tell you that is not the correct answer. You can try again, though. We'll let you try another one in there. But that's an interesting guess. I don't know if that's ever. It very well could have historically been a rule at Indy, but I don't have that.
DeWeese in the wall,
knowledge.
Ellis. They're off of turn 3, tags the wall, and here's Aaron Smith all over his back bumper.
Aaron Smith going to capitalize on the mistake made by Braxton DeWeese through turn 3. Now they head down the front straightaway. Aaron Smith draws a bead. He inches out to the left, pokes a nose to the inside of DeWeese. It's a dogfight going down into turn number 1, side by side. Can Smith hold it to the bottom of the track, or will Braxton DeWeese emerge victorious on the outside there? He's going to hold off Smith for at least half a lap or so. Chris, this is getting interesting. Aaron Smith now to the back bumper of Braxton DeWeese. DeWeese pulls the dragon move down to the inside of the track to try to break the slipstream of Aaron Smith. They have to cross over Michael Bitton there down the back stretch. It's going to help. Looks like Braxton DeWeese grew about a car. Oh, big wiggle from the 33. Aaron Smith right there again in the picture. Chris, we're on lap 57. 20 laps on these race cars' tires, and you are starting to see the good fall off here from these Goodyear tires.
They really are right here as Aaron Smith has a run off of turn 4. I think he backed off right there. I think he figured that was not a good opportunity to pass right there. I think that he's really thinking he wants to try to get to the inside on corner exit, not going into the corner. That's probably a recipe for disaster in his mind, and so he's getting back in line, riding in line right here with Braxton DeWeese.
Yeah, and we had talked about this in pre-race, Chris. You got to set these passes up. It's similar to Darlington, right, in that sense where you got to set the passes up off the corner. And Aaron Smith, instead of trying to dive bomb it down into one, that's a veteran move. It's a championship caliber move. And Aaron Smith proven why he's won so many championships and why he's at the top of the points right now in the TNT Series. Couple laps, and it might be a different story, but right now Braxton DeWeese is scored as your leader. Aaron Smith just kind of lurking back there, about a car length or two back. We're on lap number 58, now 59 of 100. We are past the halfway point, and we're closing in on the second pit stop of the evening. We've been under green flag conditions all night long for the first 59 laps of the race. Chris, this marks 310 laps consecutively in the TNT Series that we have run under green flag conditions. Battle for the lead heats up. Aaron Smith looks to draw even with Braxton DeWeese to the inside, down the backstretch. He's drawn even now. They're going to go side by side down into the corner. Smith wiggles just a little bit. He doesn't gain much of an advantage. DeWeese is going to fight back on the outside. How long will he be able to do it? The answer appears to be a little bit longer. DeWeese gets the momentum off the outside corner. Down the front straightaway they go, and DeWeese is going to fight back, it looks like, to potentially lead that lap after looking like he was going to lose the lead. Now the question is, how long can he hang on to it? How aggressive are you willing to be, Braxton DeWeese? 60 laps in, almost two-thirds of the way through the race. This is a battle for the lead, and with green flag conditions being so prominent, we could be looking at a battle for the win. DeWeese in the wall! Costly mistake by the 33. He gets out of it quickly, but Aaron Smith is going to drive off into the sunset, at least for the time being.
Yeah, that's a great race between those two drivers. That was a lot of fun to watch right there. Braxton DeWeese, I wouldn't count him out just yet. He's definitely got a lot of speed here tonight. See if he can regroup maybe and get up after Aaron Smith here over these next few laps. But we are inching closer and closer, Ellis, to this final pit stop of the race.
They've got about 7 laps or so till we suspect that they can make it to the end. The real question becomes, it's a game of cat and mouse, right? We saw Levi Cox gain a considerable amount of time, not as much time as he wanted to, and maybe that's a lesson to be learned for these drivers. Who's going to come down pit road first? Because there is an advantage, at least in the first part of that final stretch of the race. There is an advantage to hitting pit road a lap before your competitor in terms of your ability to maybe undercut them for the lead. And if you're Braxton DeWeese, do you have to be looking or considering an option like that right now, given the circumstances that have just kind of come into focus?
Yeah, definitely a possibility. I wouldn't be so quick to go ahead and do that, though. I mean, he's maintaining, his gap right here. He's not really letting Aaron get away. He's still, sitting in a pretty good spot right here. So I wouldn't jump too far to conclude that. In fact, he got through turn 4 a little bit better than Aaron did that time and has closed right back on him. So it looks like we're also having a little bit more of a buffering issue, possibly for our viewers. So we apologize for that. Like I said before, this is an ISP issue at my house. My service provider has had a little bit of trouble all day today, so definitely apologize for the viewing experience right now.
And hopefully it resolved itself a little bit earlier, and we'll continue to monitor that and keep an eye and just try to bring you as much of the racing action in the meantime as possible. Aaron Smith is your leader. Braxton, he's kind of holding station back there in second after a scary moment 2 laps ago. Levi Cox is in third with Chase Leahy not as close behind, but he's picked up a little bit of time here, 15 seconds back. Joshua Kerner in 5th position, continuing that second top 5 run of the season. Ricky Mandella back in the 6th position in that 28 car, Chris. He's having a great run so far tonight. One of his best runs of the season, surely, for Ricky Mandella. Now, I want to know, he says Ricky Mandella Sr. I want to know about Ricky Mandella Jr. and why we haven't seen him out on the track. Ricky's from Independence, Louisiana, and he's a big Martin Truex fan. Wonder how he feels about Truex's last season, kind of just ending several weeks ago and being not fully retired, but in terms of regular season full-time racing, definitely being done about that.
Well,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, what's Martin Truex Jr. going to do for the Daytona 500? The rumor was that he was going to run a 2311 car, but I don't think there's any more news about that, Ellis. So I wonder is he still going to run the Daytona 500?
I don't know. Lots of things that probably depending on what happens with that 2311 and NASCAR lawsuit. I know some big news came out about that this past week with 2311 winning kind of an injunction against NASCAR that is a temporary victory to maybe allow them to run those charters this upcoming season. We'll see what happens with that, but I would imagine the Martin Truex Jr. news is going to be kind of tied into that. Hey, one other interesting fact about Ricky Mandela is that he is the owner of Animal House Custom Embroidery Company. I'm curious. I know he runs that on his car. I'm curious about what they can embroider and, what kind of things they do. I just imagine like leather biker's vests or like denim biker's vests with some embroidered logos or something on there. But I'm curious if Ricky watches this or is watching now or has some fans watching. I'm curious what Animal House Customs Embroidery, what their specialty is. A couple other guesses in the chat. Banned huge fuel tanks, Connor Lyon says. They banned huge fuel tanks in the Indy cars at the Indy 500 from 1965 to 2004. Going to give a couple more minutes for people to chime in with their guesses about what was banned at the Indy 500 from 1965 all the way to 2004, almost 40 years that this was banned. Get your guesses in now. Get some points on the board for trivia. Giving away that free Kevin Harvick Diecast car in just a little while. On the track right now, Aaron Smith still scored as your leader, Chris. Braxton Weiss has kind of held station. I've seen him pick up a little bit of time maybe on Aaron Smith here in the past few laps. Levi Cox continuing to hold station back there in the third position. Cox, Chris, is going to be your first taker down pit road. This is a key moment in the race. It could be the money stop for Levi Cox. He's going to be the first one down. He's going to gain at least an advantage for the next couple of laps. Can he undercut the leaders on pit road? Who will come down next? He's going to be the first car to hit that slow crawl down pit road to come to the attention of his crew. We saw him slide into his pit stall last time. Can he avoid the mistake and capitalize on this early undercut pit stop? Chris looks like he hit his marks that time. Doesn't have to back up. His crew gets going immediately.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about it before, Ellis, but these are very small pit stalls, very narrow pit road, and the stalls themselves are also super, super small, designed initially for Indy cars, so that might have contributed to that mistake before, but that's a good trip down pit road for Levi. Let's see what happens when Aaron and Braxton make their pit stops.
We're going to see indeed what happens to him. He falls back to the fourth position. Aaron Smith and Braxton Weiss stayed out another lap, Chris. And if you're Levi Cox, this is good news, at least at the beginning of this run. That is more time he can quickly pick up on these drivers and potentially undercut them for the lead. He loves what he's seeing right now, and that number one car slides only back to fourth position on that pit stop. And right now, I'm feeling pretty good if I'm Levi Cox, especially if I see Aaron Smith and Braxton Weiss maybe make one more lap around. Obviously, he's going to have to pay the Pied Piper on the back end of the run on the final few laps of the race, but by that point, he's going to maybe be in the lead if it works out according to his plans, and he'll be the one having to defend that lead. And yeah, Chris, they're going to take one more lap around. So, again, Levi Cox kind of really able to run unfettered hot laps right now on these tires, at least before these guys come down pit road. What do you make of this position he's in?
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried if Aaron and Braxton decide to keep on going right here because, maybe they feel like, that they've saved their tires really well this run and that they feel like they're sitting in a good spot. I'm a little bit worried for Levi if they make another lap because that's probably going to open it up to maybe going another lap after that. And The more and more laps that we run, yes, it does let Levi sort of open up his advantage on both Aaron and Braxton, but I think it also puts him into a little bit of a box for later in the run. I think he's going to have a hard time maybe holding them off if we get a long green flag run to close this thing out. And it looks like they're going to do another lap, Ellis.
Yeah, so really maybe 2-3 laps, it's okay, but potentially longer than that, not good for Levi Cox. And it looks, Chris, I'm hearing that our live stream might have ended. I feel like we're live right now. I'm still showing live on our end.
Yeah, it looks like we're still struggling. It looks like we're dropping a lot of frames. And like I said before, we definitely apologize for that, for those of y'all who are watching. Unfortunately, can't really do much about that. Yeah, it's still showing live for me, Ellis.
Still live at this point. Hey, answer to that trivia question as we work our way around lap number 69 into lap number 70 here. What was banned from 1965 to 2004, Chris? Any guesses?
Man, I don't know. I want to say, I don't know. I'm very curious about the answer to this. I'm going to say relief drivers.
Good guess. We had some other good guesses in the chat. Huge fuel tanks. We also had banned women's driver participation, which historically you could see it in the 60s and 70s and 80s. But the correct answer is gasoline. Gasoline was banned as a fuel for the Indy 500. Cars were forced to use methanol or ethanol blends for safety reasons, as these fuels tend to burn with less visible flame, making fire management just a little bit easier. So,
and we had sorry, Ellis, looks like we had a change for the lead right there.
Yeah, it looked like Braxton DeWeese, who's been running slightly faster laps, was able to work his way by Aaron Smith here for the lead. And this is going to play a major role. This is going to be a big shuffle here, Chris, when we get ready to see kind of this final stage of the race, the final 30 laps or so. And Chris, these guys want fresh tires at the end, and that's kind of what this extended run here, now 34 laps, is telling me. After Levi Cox tries that undercut, I think we're going to see Cox take the lead here on this pit sequence, but where he is at the end of the run on tires compared to Braxton DeWeese and Aaron Smith is maybe going to be a different story. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. Aaron Smith right on the back bumper down the back straightaway here.
Making another run at him. I was trying to get our situation, our streaming situation, a little bit better right there, and I missed the lead, but I did hear somebody make contact with the wall. I'm not sure if that was Aaron Smith that maybe caused him to lose the lead, but yeah, he's definitely taking the fight right back to Braxton here.
Close battle, and both drivers will stay on the track once more. And Chris, this has put Levi Cox about 35 seconds in the rearview mirror behind these guys. He's going to be primed to definitely, I'm just running my numbers here, Chris, and drivers are spending anywhere from 44 to 50 seconds on pit road on average.
Yep.
That could potentially, and that is the minimum amount of time that they're going to be slowed down. I question how far Levi Cox might be able to get to the lead, and maybe he can start to manage that tire situation a little bit better once he knows that these guys have hit pit road, and we continue to wait to see any sort of signal from these leaders that they might be coming down pit road, and I'm not seeing anything.
This time,
Aaron Smith, Braxton DeWeese, very loose for Smith. Smith tries to make the pass. Did he get down to pit road speed? And did he make contact with the wall there? Aggressive maneuver from the points leader, Aaron Smith there, Chris. Wow.
Yeah, that was definitely aggressive right there. He's trying to get all he could get and try to make the pass getting onto pit road. This is definitely an easier place to pass than on the racetrack. With as aero-tight as these cars are, but let's see what happens between these two as they come off of pit road.
Yeah, just watching any mistake potentially by Braxton DeWeese or Aaron Smith. Both looks like Braxton DeWeese, Chris, he overshot his pit stall. It looks like he had to back up just a little bit. That could be a costly mistake, compounded by the fact that Levi Cox, Chris, is now went by both of these drivers, making his way down through turns 1, headed down into turn 2 now. This is going to paint the picture. It's going to tell Aaron Smith and Braxton DeWeese exactly what they have to do in the closing stage of this race. And boy, Chris, Braxton DeWeese did not lose as much time as I thought he was going to after kind of a difficult entry down into his pit stall. But he's back 10 car lengths or so behind Aaron Smith. He's definitely still in this. But the difficulty for them looks like when it all evens out, Chris, it's going to be about a 9.5 second differential between Levi Cox, and then second and third place, Aaron Smith and Braxton DeWeese. So Joshua Kerner, great run, Chris, going for him. I don't think he's come down pit road yet. 35 lap old tires. He's definitely feeling it in that number 14, but he is primed to probably just fall back to 5th position after his pit stop. Chase Leahy just came in a couple of laps ago and got his final set of tires for the evening, pending that we don't have a caution. And yeah, Chris, this is Aaron Smith has gained about 0.5 of a second in the last lap on Levi Cox. So,
yeah, we'll definitely look at the battle forecast when they come back by the line this time to get an accurate read on it. But yeah, I think that Levi. I like the call by Levi because he had fallen off of these guys by about a couple seconds. I like the effort for sure. He definitely didn't have anything to lose and had a lot to gain by the move, and we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I do like this call. Levi Cox now, lap 74 of 100 here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Ellis Thomas and Chris Smith in the Slingshot Racing Media booth for race number 10 of the TNT Series. Cox has scored as your leader. Smith second, DeWeese third, Leahy scored his 4th, Joshua Kerner all the way up to 5th position, Ricky Mandela in the 6th position. David Reichman currently runs 7th, had some trouble earlier this evening. Michael Benton running 8th. Those are the remaining cars on the track. Blassie, Tomlinson, Walton, and Veal all parked it earlier on in the race. Connor Lyons asking, are we ready? We are absolutely ready for a banger of a finish here with just 25 laps left in the book. Hit sequences look to be over, Chris. Every driver probably pending a caution has made their final pit stop of the evening. And Chris, Aaron Smith is up to 7 seconds behind. He's closed about 2.3 seconds in the past 4 laps. Now, obviously that is going to equalize out just a little bit. There's going to be a crossover point where that difference between tires is not going to be as significant. But I don't know. Aaron Smith is he's running much faster laps than Levi Cox now, about 0.3 of a second faster, and you can see it.
Yeah, he's
you
actually
can see
about
what's going on. Yeah,
he's about 1.3 seconds faster than him that time, Ellis. He is a lot faster. He is gaining a lot of ground really fast, and that's just the story of Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I think especially in stock cars is. The difference in lap time can be great over the course of a long run.
Absolutely. We've seen a lot of fall off tonight. Drivers really earning their money in points tonight, making those hard left-handers on the tight confines in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A lot of history has gone down at this track. We've learned some fun facts about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway over the course of the evening. Got another trivia question for you.
All right.
You like flowers? I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you.
Talking to me? I mean, they're not really my thing, but yeah, I guess I can understand why some people like them.
Well, before we get to that, we do have to adjudicate one issue, Chris. Connor Line says he's kind of right on that last question. He said they eliminated the big fuel tanks, and the answer was technically they eliminated gasoline and made drivers run methanol and ethanol. Should we give him a point?
We'll leave that one up to you, Ellis, but
you don't want
the fuel in the tank is different than the tank itself, right?
Yeah, this is a position we find ourselves in as teachers every day. Tell you what, let's give him the point. We'll give Connor the point. Now, the trivia questions are going to separate the winners from the losers here. What flower is the winner's wreath made from? And this is a 2-part question. 2 points on the line here.
There?
Well, there's one primary one.
Okay.
And this is the one I'm looking for. What flower and how many of those flowers are in the winner's wreath that is presented to the winner of the Indianapolis 500 here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Which flower and how many of them make up the winner's wreath for the Indy 500? That is the trivia question. And Chris, I think with some action to come ahead as Aaron Smith and Braxton DeWeese separated just by 0.2 of a second. We're getting ready for some big action on the track coming up here in the final portion, Chris. I think this is a great opportunity to hit up our final commercial break of the evening and take you to the checkered flag for the remainder. We'll be back on the other end of this break. Think about that trivia question. We'll be back in a second.
Hey partner, I'm Barry, your pocket crew chief, the very first AI-powered mechanic for sim racing. Got a car that's a little loose or tight? Just tell me how it's handling, and I'll whip up instant setup recommendations just for you. Want me to get even more precise? Snap a picture of your setup, and I'll fine-tune it to perfection. And hey, I'm not just about giving orders. I'll explain why every adjustment matters, so you can really understand your ride. I'll even teach you the science behind the setup. Ever wondered why the track bar is so important? I've got the answer. With Pocket Crew Chief, I'll make you smarter, faster, and race ready. So what are we waiting for? Let's build to win.
Back here from Speedway, Indiana at the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Braxton DeWeese, Chris, he is fighting loose conditions. They are doing everything they can to get to the back bumper of Levi Cox, who is scored as your leader. He pit a 7 laps earlier than these guys, and he gained a big advantage over them, but he's paying on the other side of it right now as his tires are starting to fall off a little bit, while the good's still left on the tires of Aaron Smith and Braxton DeWeese. And boy, we got some intense racing ahead in the final 19 laps of this TNT Series race number 10. Just 3 races left before the playoffs and the chase for the TNT Championship. Before we went to break, we asked you what flower and how many of them make up the winner's wreath at the Indy 500. Let us know. We got a couple answers in the chat already. Get a point on the board for the trivia. Chatter with the most points for trivia wins a free Kevin Harvick Diecast car we'll send to them after the race this evening. And boy, Chris, Braxton DeWeese is hot on the trail of Aaron Smith right now. I'm curious as we watch this onboard camera. If you're Braxton, what are you thinking here? How are you setting up this pass on Aaron Smith?
Well, it's going to be difficult because first you got to get around Levi up here in the first spot. But I'm just trying to maintain what I'm currently doing. And what he's done has helped him ease up on that back bumper. You're not going to gain it all in one corner here unless that guy in front of you makes a mistake. And we're not used to seeing Aaron make a lot of mistakes. So I'm just taking it one corner at a time. I'm going to look to see if I can have that left front poking out just a little bit lower. It doesn't take much here. You're just looking to get that left front fender a little bit lower than the left front fender of that guy in front of you. You want to just be poking out into that clean air just a little bit because you don't have a lot of options here. You can't go up high to gain, any type of clean air advantage up there just because, it's just there's no grip up there, anywhere off that bottom lane. So I'm just going to see if I can get my left front a little bit lower than that guy in front of me and maybe just use that clean air to help my car turn a little bit better.
Well, these drivers are doing everything they can to get their cars to turn right now, Chris. It's a 1.2-second lead for Levi Cox coming up on just 17 laps now, 16 laps to go here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, crossing the bricks now for the 83rd time tonight. Now down to 1.1 seconds. Chase Leahy 36 seconds back in the distance, Chris. If we don't have a caution, this is going to be a three-dog fight headed into the final stretch here. Braxton DeWeese relentlessly pursuing the back bumper of that bright number yellow 70 of Aaron Smith. And Chris, look at that heart rate. Fans, notice in the top right, that is Aaron Smith's heart rate live as it stands. It's continuing to climb just a little bit. I would imagine we're going to see that number creep up just a little bit higher now. He's within 0.6 of a second of Levi Cox. And if you're Levi Cox, this feels like it might be inevitable. How much of a fight do you think he's going to put up?
He's got to put up a big fight. You got to fight for everything that you got. Even though it might seem futile, you definitely have to try to fight for everything that you've got. Look at him right here. He's trying to break the draft.
How do you do that? I was just about to ask you, if you're Cox, how do you put up a fight for cars that are that much better on newer tires?
You just try to make yourself unpredictable on the straightaway. You don't want to give that guy any type of slipstream advantage that he might possibly get. You don't try to park your car right in front of his in the center of the corner. Don't go up the track. It's just
he can't keep it down on those old tires. Levi Cox getting ready to give up the lead to Aaron Smith. What will Braxton DeWeese do? Does he try to make it three wide? Almost thought of it there. Down the backstretch, down into turn 3. Smith to the lead. Braxton DeWeese just a car length back, looks for second. Smith slides up the track just a little bit in front of that number 33 blue machine of Braxton DeWeese. It is a dogfight for the lead as they work their way by the lap car of Michael Benton on the inside. Levi Cox going to take another shot at Braxton DeWeese here. Lap number 85, now 86, as drivers work their way around the front stretch. This is going to cause big issues for Braxton DeWeese. Chris doesn't want to be caught up on the outside, but unfortunately that's where he found himself, headed down into turn 1. Those new tires are not going to be a match for Levi Cox here. Braxton DeWeese easily makes that pass on the outside. Now he's got some work to do, just about half a second behind Aaron Smith. We've seen that 33 be able to hang with Aaron Smith much of the evening, and we've seen him fall back a little bit even and be able to catch back up to the number 70.
Yeah, that lap car of Michael Benton right there, that kind of, him maintaining that line on the bottom, I think they probably wanted him to go high right there. That kind of separated them out just a little bit right here, but Braxton was really trying to pounce on Aaron right there because I think he recognized that being his best opportunity as he was trying to get around Levi Cox to make that pass. But Aaron did a nice job. It's like a little bit of a connection flash right there from Aaron Smith, but he's right back here on the track. And if you're Braxton DeWeese, try to regroup here and see what you can do with that guy in front of you.
Hey, at least we're not the only ones having internet issues tonight, Chris. We've got a request from Connor to crank it up. You think we can do a lap or so? Crank it up on those wall cams?
We definitely can.
All right, let's hear the sights and sounds of these Gen 4 cars around Indianapolis Motor Speedway. All right, back here, final 12 laps of the race, getting ready to get underway The big question at hand, can Braxton Deweese mount a charge on Aaron Smith? It's Deweese's second race in the TNT Series. They're going to have to work their way by David Reichman. Aaron Smith forced high into the corner. Braxton Deweese has to find a way by on the outside. Reichman just not in the right position for these drivers working their way by. It doesn't hurt Deweese too much. He maintains about a half a second gap between him and Aaron Smith. Loses a little bit there, Chris. But, hey, before we hit these final 12 laps of the race, the question we asked in the trivia was how many flowers and what flower make up the winner's wreath for the Indianapolis 500? Had a couple guesses in the chat. Chris Deweese says white orchids in 33, which was ironically also his high school football number. Connor Lyons said pink orchids in 30 of them. The correct answer, Chris, 33 white orchids. And bonus question for you, Chris, why 33?
Because there are 33 entries in the Indy 500 every single season.
You are correct, Chris Deweese. With that, you are going to win the Kevin Harvick Diecast giveaway tonight. Connor, you put up a great fight. There's always next week we'll be giving away another Diecast, but Chris Deweese, we appreciate you. You should have our email address. It's ssracingleagues@gmail.com. Shoot us an email. I think we probably have your address, but just as a reminder, let us know you won, and we'll get that out to you. And we'll see if your son can't mount a charge here in the final 10 laps or so of this race. Braxton Deweese is about 0.6 of a second behind Aaron Smith. Levi Cox, Chris, that tire strategy just did not work out the way I think he was hoping it would tonight.
It didn't, but I'll tell you what, I like the effort. I like the call. He didn't have anything to lose. He threw a Hail Mary, and you know what? You know, that's all right. That's okay. If I'm him, I can live with the result because, barring catastrophe here in the final 10 laps of this race, he's going to walk out of this thing with a third-place finish, and that was where he was running previously before he decided to make this call. Yeah,
and he's going to only lose, marginal points to Aaron Smith. And when we talk about the chase, the difference in terms of points you are back isn't going to matter after the reset. It's 5 points between first and second. Whether you came in 15 or 100 points behind the leader in second, you're still going to be 5 points back. So not giving up a whole lot here. I know he would want to be points leader. That's going to be an advantage headed into those final 3 races starting at Phoenix here in a couple of weeks. But, hey, I don't think he's going to be too sad about that. Took a gamble. It doesn't always pay off. Tonight, it wasn't the choice, that ultimately was successful, but he gave it a go, and you got to respect that. Aaron Smith is your leader. Braxton Deweese second. Talking about Michael Bitton making some laps earlier, still logging those laps back in 8th position. Good run for Michael as he sits on pit road right now. David Reichman, boy, you want to talk about a driver, man, that just grinds it out every single week, even when he has difficulty and trouble. David Reichman is that guy. Cannot say enough about this guy. This is kind of a home race for him, Chris. He's out of Ohio, and I know in the chat we got some Deweese fans. Chris in the chat, do you know anything about New Philadelphia, Ohio? How close are y'all to New Philadelphia? David is a pulled a Jeff Burton there. Shane Van Gisbergen fan. Shane going to be running full-time in the Cup Series next season. I'm sure David's probably excited to see that. That thing's got some damage on the right side of it, though, as we watch that Warframe car slink by.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of damage. That's definitely probably hurting the performance, hurting the turn right in the center of the corner. But, I'm going to be really curious this season to watch David's favorite driver, Shane Van Gisbergen, this season to see how he performs in his first full season of Cup. He definitely brings the excitement, and I wouldn't put it past him to lock himself in the playoffs with a road course win, maybe.
Yeah, I think you are absolutely on the money with that guess. I think it is definitely something that we should be on the lookout for. Just looking through a little more of David's. Oh, that's right. David Reichman is the drummer in the metal band. I thought he was in a band. And, having a good run tonight. I know he's had some damage, but he has stuck it out and currently running in the 7th position after starting in the 8th position. So he even picked up a spot. And Chris, while we're on that car, I did find out what Warframe 1999 is.
Oh, yeah.
It is a video game made in it just released like 2 weeks or less than a week ago. It's actually an update, it looks like. It's a major expansion for the free-to-play action game Warframe. So it just came out. Players play as a drifter journeying into a city back in 1999. It's under martial law due to a viral outbreak known as the Tech Rot. Sounds kind of like an interesting plot. I might have to go check this game out.
Well, I've heard of Warframe, and I figured that this was connected to the game somehow. So, I'm very interested to see, how it goes for them. I think that game's been going for a really long time now.
Yeah,
so,
I think you're right.
But, that's pretty cool.
So, speaking of cool, man, Braxton DeWeese picked up about a 10th and a half that time, Chris. He is a 10th and a half faster that lap. Looks like the driver, the number 33, might have found something. 6 laps to go, coming to the final 5 laps here. Can DeWeese muster one final charge to the back bumper of that number 70 of Aaron Smith? These two drivers have faced each other on the track many times in Slingshot Racing League. Tonight's their first race against each other. Neck and neck dueling here in the TNT series. Who will get the better end of this fight? Braxton DeWeese continues to close the gap. He looks to have gotten better as the run has gone on, Chris, and got a great run off of turn 4. He's now within 3.5 tenths of a second. He's got the faster car the last 3 laps on the track, but you're seeing it there, Chris. The numbers don't add up. 10 laps, now 3 laps. The number has changed. Looks like we might have a great battle on our hands at last.
Yeah, and he was sliding a little bit right there through 1 and 2. The previous 2 laps went a little bit better than the first half of this lap went, but he's definitely making a charge right here. But as he gets closer, man, the likelihood of the pass gets a little bit more and more difficult just because of how much the dirty air is affecting the nose of that number 33 Ford.
Is there anything you can do if you're DeWeese to kind of avoid dirty air?
The only thing that you can really do here at this track with these cars is just try to get a little bit lower. Just try to get that left front valence as close to that curbing on the inside as you can. And with Aaron Smith in front of you, Aaron kind of missed the corner a little bit.
Missed the corner. Big moment for Aaron Smith. Braxton DeWeese off of turn 1, down into 2. They're approaching the back straightaway. Smith missed the corner. He opened up the door for Braxton DeWeese, who gets a great run off the corner. It is now down to a 10th and a half of a second, the closest it's been in the last 15 laps. Braxton DeWeese going to make a run at it here, coming to 3 to go in just half a lap. And Chris, you mentioned it. He got down to that apron, and both drivers run a pretty good line that time. But boy, this has changed the game completely. Smith, who never misses a corner and never puts a foot wrong, missed it there, and he's opened the door for Braxton DeWeese with just 3 laps left.
He does, and that's all it takes here. Just one slight mistake. Slight mistakes are magnified here compared to some other tracks right here as DeWeese is all over the back bumper. Look at that left front all over the curbing. Got him a little bit out of shape. Smith is also out of shape right here, Ellis.
Yeah, this is interesting. DeWeese looks like he's trying a different strategy, a different approach on entry, maybe trying to diamond the corners a little bit, seeing if he can find something here in the last 2.5 laps. He looks to have found a little bit of a run and a little bit of speed off of turn 2. How does he maybe play it down in turn 3? He follows Smith's line down into turn 3. Both drivers seem to hit it perfectly. DeWeese a little bit of a wiggle off the corner there, but doesn't really lose much. You can see a later entry into the corner. Will it pay dividends on the exit here? Who's going to carry the speed? Aaron Smith allows DeWeese to maybe get a little bit of draft off of him down the front straightaway. It's 2 to go here at Indianapolis. 2 laps left. Braxton DeWeese just a car length back from Aaron Smith as they exit turn 1.
Yeah, he is right there. He is all over him right here, and as you get closer and closer, not only does it affect the nose of your car, but also you're putting pressure on that guy in front of you to possibly overdrive corner entry. if I'm Braxton DeWeese, I'm maybe thinking about trying to poke to the inside, poke my nose to the inside right here and get out of that mirror maybe.
Maybe get out of that mirror, maybe force Aaron Smith into a mistake. He's got a lap and a half to do it. They head into turn 3, now turn 4 for the penultimate time tonight. Getting ready to see that white flag. They've run 99 laps. They've been on top of each other the entire time, and it's going to take one lap to decide it. The flagman waves the white flag. Here we go. Can DeWeese muster one final ounce of courage down into turn 1 to pressure Smith? Smith looks to hit his marks. DeWeese does the same. Looks like the lead holds station there down into turn number 2. Aaron Smith holds a pretty wheel. So does Braxton DeWeese, Chris. We've seen Smith pull away here for the last couple of corners. Looks like he lost a little bit off that corner. Can DeWeese do anything down the backstretch? It's a 2.5 tenth lead for Smith, but that closes to a little less than a car length down into turn 3. Smith's got one more corner to make it. Will he hit his marks? Will Braxton DeWeese take advantage of a mistake? Both drivers hold their left tires to the apron. Aaron Smith's going to hold on to win at Indianapolis in the TNT Series. Braxton DeWeese will be second. Woo.
What a great race.
That was a great race. We didn't have a pass, but it's not always going to be a pass, Chris. Great racing isn't always the second place car getting by the first place car. We saw a hell of a show tonight from all of these drivers. Aaron Smith is your winner. Braxton DeWeese second. Levi Cox finishes in third. I think he's going to be fine with that. We'll talk to him in the interview and post-race. Chase Leahy brings that Pine Golf car home for a fourth place finish. Joshua Kerner, fifth place finish. That ties his best finish of the season. Ricky Mandela sixth. David Reichman holds on for seventh. And Michael Bitton rounds out the final 8. All right, watching Aaron Smith do a little bit of a celebratory sideways burnout drift through the corner. Pretty impressive. We've come to kind of expect those drift celebrations from Aaron Smith.
No, Aaron.
Recent weeks got the wall. Almost had it. We're going to pause for just a moment here and hear from our top 3 finishers as we watch that winner, Aaron Smith, celebrate on the front straightaway. Give us just 1 second. All right, we're going to see if we can get Levi Cox in here. All right, here he is. All right, Levi Cox, this is Ellis and Chris in the broadcast booth for Slingshot. You got a copy, my friend.
Yes, sir. How are you, Ellis?
Oh, pretty good, man. Great race. Y'all put on a hell of a show tonight, and you took a gamble. It didn't pay off, but mass respect for taking that chance, pitting 7 laps before those guys. Let's jump back to that moment. You were easily, y'all 3 were the class of the field tonight, and y'all are running pretty close to each other, handling. Boy, what lap did these cars start to feel like the tires went away?
I think you could get 36, and it seemed like, for me, 28, 30, it just seemed like the right front disappeared at that point.
Well, you took a gamble. Did you expect on that final pit sequence those guys to wait as late as they did?
No, but I don't know. They had the better strategy for sure. I don't know. Aaron runs it long every single race. Both. We have 2 stops. He runs it and maximizes it, and I got to start doing that. I got to stop getting panicky and coming to pit road too early.
Well, easier said than done. You were racing one of the best out there, and you held serve most of the evening. So nothing to hang your head down about, Levi Cox. Great finish. You're not going to lose many points, and when we talk about the playoffs, they're going to be re-racked at Phoenix for those final 3 races of the season. Kind of headed into there, as your mind already started to shift over to the playoffs, have you started to think about strategy and how you're going to approach those final 3 races?
I've been saying it all season. I think whoever wins the regular season is going to win the championship, so my focus is on Darlington and Phoenix the next 2 weeks, because I think that 10-point buffer going into the playoffs is going to be hard to overcome.
Darlington, you expect to be pretty speedy there?
Yeah, Darlington's one of my best tracks, so I think I can bring home the checkered next week.
All right, man. Well, we heard it here first. Look at Darlington. Look at Levi Cox in that number 1. Going to be gunning for a win next week. Before we let you go celebrate third, you got any shout-outs?
Yes, you guys for the broadcast. You always do a great job, and Pace for putting on the league. Thursday Night Thunder. Larry Yingling for crew chiefing. My fiance Morgan for letting me do this, and just all the people in the league. It's been fun so far.
Man, appreciate you. On to Darlington next week. That's Levi Cox, third place finish. Congratulations.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
You too. All right, so that was Levi Cox. We're going to now hear from Braxton Deweese.
Braxton
All right,
Deweese,
should
our
be in
second place finisher. This is the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, Braxton, we saw you and Aaron Smith putting on one heck of a show along with Levi Cox all race right here. And man, it looked like in those final few laps you were going to make a charge at him. Seemed like you had a little bit of right front tire left in you there, making that charge up to his rear bumper. What more did you need to possibly be able to get to him? It just seemed like it was just really, really hard to get to somebody to pass him here tonight.
I need a little more right front tire. I feel like that's been a problem the past 2 Thursday nights. Last week I was terrible after I went down 4 seconds in the first run, and I knew it was over from there, and it was just a long road to the finish. But this week I was hoping we'd do a little bit better. We changed our ratio to probably what it should have been. So I was happy with what we had to be up front the whole time. Just need to be a little bit better on pit entry, and I just need a little bit more right front throughout the whole run. But all in all, be able to come home second and at least still have a shot at the end there is still good in my book.
Yeah, definitely. You guys definitely put on one heck of a race right there, and definitely got a lot to be happy about going into Darlington next week. Are we going to see you at Darlington, and are you looking forward to getting back out there?
Oh, yeah. Darlington is one of my favorite tracks in real life and on the sim. So, we're going to keep racing the Thursday Night Thunder until the Area Pro Series starts back up on Thursday nights. It's a pretty good competition over there. So, looking forward to that. But we got some pretty good competition with Aaron and also Levi too. So, Levi fell off the strategy a little bit. He pitted early and then pitted a lot earlier on the second run. That kind of just hurt him a little bit. So, either way, he was still pretty quick, and Aaron's always pretty quick. So, wanted to get that win. We're chasing 50 wins on the year, and we have 47 wins, and
Dang.
we have 3 races left, 4 races left. So we got to be pretty good. So, I'm counting all the league races and special events and whatnot. So, I don't know. I like to keep track of all that stuff. It might not mean nothing, but to me, it's something. So, hopefully we can get a win at Darlington.
Definitely a lot to shoot for right there, and I wouldn't count you out at all. Before we let you go celebrate the second place finish, you got any shout-outs?
Yeah, most definitely. We were able to run the Christmas car again, so big shout out to Alan's Arts Images on the car, as well as Interstate Ford, Three Dips Ice Cream Shop, Bennett's Publical, Jane's on Main, Luis Renovations, Winter Roberts Photography, Booth 34 Diecast, Short Track Report, Blaze Designs, as well as Evan Pineda Designs. Looking forward to actually getting my paint team done for the Spark series, which will be racing. I don't think I've raced against you and Chris at all, like all of us together, and if we have, it's been like 1 or 2 times. So that's gonna be pretty fun.
Well,
and,
man, I don't know if I'd call blowing by my left side door much racing, but it'll be fun. It'll
hey,
fun.
we'll see what happens.
Fun waving to you when you drive by.
Yeah, if I do, then I'll for sure to wave back. But no, man, you're gonna be up there for sure. Glad to see you got that 8 on that card too. But I also want to give a shout out to Bully Dog Coffee Company. You can use Rax5 for 10% off over there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that for the Wednesday nights. It's gonna be pretty good. Seeing y'all are sponsoring it with the Pocket Crew Chief. I'm gonna look into that. It actually looks pretty interesting, pretty cool. So I don't know a dang thing about open setup, so that's absolutely perfect. So if I want to do any special events or anything, I can use that and try to put a setup together and see what happens. So I'm glad y'all put that together. I'm really looking forward to looking into that, and
Appreciate it.
Just looking forward to next Thursday as well as the Spark series like we were talking about.
Yeah, thank you.
We're absolutely looking forward to getting out there on the track with you and watching you here on Thursday nights as well. Here coming up here in a couple weeks at Darlington. So that's Braxton Deweese, our second place finisher tonight. Congratulations, bud.
I appreciate you. Have a Merry Christmas.
You too.
All right, so that was Braxton DeWeese. Now we're going to hear from our winner, Aaron Smith. Hey, Aaron, this is Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you.
Well, man, it was uncertain at moments. Some tire strategy put you in the catbird seat late on in the race. I want to jump back to that first run. We saw you get the wall a little bit. What was going on there in that number 70 in that first part of the race?
Well, I had to download the track right before I got in here, so I didn't have time to practice with the new build. So that certainly wasn't ideal. Had to pass a few cars there in that first run, and it took a toll on that right front. The setup was absolutely terrible on that right front the whole race. I think the first run was the worst that I ended up doing, but as the race went on, the tires got chalky, and it just wouldn't get any drive on the exit. So I'm glad I was able to pull it off in spite of that.
Well, man, in that final kind of run, that final showdown, another moment I wanted to talk about was that entry onto pit road for the final time. Boy, that was about as close as it gets. That might be some of the most aggressive maneuvering we've seen you use getting onto pit road. What was going through your head in that moment?
Yeah, once Braxton stayed ahead of me there, I knew that was going to be my plan. I was going to chuck it in as far as I could. I know I had the earlier box, so I'd be able to get away with it if he'd give me that room. And he gave me that room, broke a little early, and chucked it in. I'm pretty sure I hit the line at 70. I don't know why it didn't give me a penalty. I might have slowed it down enough before the first timing line, but I'm not sure. I seem to be pretty good at that. Haven't had to do it very often, but this race was difficult enough to take that.
Man, you made that final pass there in the closing laps of this race. New tires definitely were the advantage. Newer tires, I should say, in finishing this thing out. Before we let you go celebrate that win, any shout-outs?
Oh, yeah. I'd like to thank all the folks at Thursday Night Thunder for putting this league on, and all the folks who stick around and run these races, and y'all for sticking around and broadcasting, and all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it at Darlington.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it as well. We'll see you in a couple weeks, and have a Merry Christmas.
And for you too.
Thanks. All right, Chris. So you heard all three of the podium finishers there, and they talked all about how the handling of these race cars tonight was the biggest challenge. They definitely earned their points and their money, metaphorical money, of course, tonight here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In the chat, getting a couple comments on what a great race this was. And yeah, not from us, this broadcast, but from the racers themselves. Hell of a show. Chris, appreciate you tuning in, watching your boy, even though he didn't come up with a win tonight. Connor, we are unfortunately don't have a Sundown Showdown, Sunset Showdown scheduled yet, but there will be news about that coming up here in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out for that. We're going to take a look at this final session results. You can see the top three we already heard from. Chase Leahy finishes fourth. Chris, Josh Kerner in fifth with a tie for his season's best finish. Ricky Mandela also getting his best finish of the season. David Reichman, seventh position. Michael Benton holds on for the eighth position. Chris Blassie, Nicholas Tomlinson, as well as the final set of drivers. I'm just looking at my results here. Greg Veal and Robert Walton all kind of crash out of the race earlier and park their cars earlier in the event. They're going to wind out 10th, 11th, and 12th. Chris, great race tonight, man. The only regret I have is we didn't run any drone cams tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately,
it seems timely to have done so, but maybe there was a ground, some sort of ground stop order on the drones in Indianapolis.
I guess so. Unfortunately, we had all these other great cameras, that Whiplash provides us, but there are no drone cams here at Indianapolis, unfortunately, in our package, and I think that's just because of the canyon-style front stretch. It makes it really hard to be able to have. Yeah, it's hard to get those shots down the front stretch, and frankly, all around the track with there being so many grandstands around the track.
But Whiplash SimCams makes it happen, and you can check out their Facebook page and find out how to get those cameras for yourself, whether you're doing broadcasting or you're just a video replay lover or a screenshot taker and you want those high-quality, amazing shots of your custom paint schemes, which you can get from SimWrap Market as well. It's been a great evening of racing, Chris. Just a couple of races left in the regular season headed into that chase. We're going to take a week off for Christmas next week. We hope everyone has a happy holiday season and has gotten all their shopping done. Chris, you gotten your shopping done?
I have got my shopping done in record time this year. No scurrying around here in the last few days before Christmas to get them. So I've got everything done. How about you?
Yeah, I got all my stuff done mostly by October. So, I'm trying to flex on everyone this year. I'm very proud of that accomplishment. It'll probably never happen again. But, here we are, getting ready to settle down for a nice Christmas break. We're going to be taking a break, as I mentioned, next week. TNT Series is off, but we'll be back in action the following week at Darlington. It is going to be a wild night. Look for some maybe throwback schemes to make an appearance in that event. Braxton DeWeese, Levi Cox, Aaron Smith, as well as everyone else you saw tonight, will be back for the final 5 races of the season. Everyone from Speedway, Indiana, for Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot Racing Media booth, thank you for tuning in tonight. Make sure to hit that subscribe and like button before you leave on out of here. We'll be back in 2 weeks with the free Diecast giveaway. And make sure you find that link to register for the Dale Jr. autographed Diecast giveaway we're doing at the end of the season. It's pinned in the chat and the video description. So long from Indianapolis, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a happy holidays. Bye for now.